Welcome to today's episode of Heard and Seen Around. I am Rajesh Karipurath. This is my take on macroeconomic and geoeconomic data points, which I find interesting. I hope you enjoy watching it as much as I enjoyed curating it. Cheers.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. The future is digital, but the problems are still human. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. If we keep on learning at this rate, we'll soon know nothing at all. A man who carries a cat by the tail learns something he can learn in no other way.
Crossing $100 billion isn't just a statistic, it's a supply chain confession. India isn't just trading with China, it's dependent on it. Look at the imports, electronics, machinery, components, the building block of India's own manufacturing. We assemble here, but the guts still come from there. Exports are rising, sure, but not enough, and not in the right categories to close the gap. That's a real issue. This isn't a cyclical deficit, it's structural. Until domestic capacity deepens, the gap doesn't shrink, it scales. The world still talks about OPEC, but the US is quietly running the show. 1 in every 5 barrels comes from America. That's not influence, that's dominance. Shale changed the game. Flexible, fast and market driven, unlike traditional producers who rely on quotas and coordination. And Canada at number 4, North America is basically an energy superpower bloc now. The implication is huge. Geopolitics still matters, but pricing power is no longer centralized. Supply shocks don't just depend on the Middle East anymore. They depend on Texas too. Bull runs are great marketers. Suddenly every fund manager looks like a genius until the cycle turns and gravity returns. This data just confirms the obvious. Half the flashy new funds couldn't even beat a simple benchmark during one of the strongest rallies in years. That's not bad luck, that's fees meeting reality. NFOs sell narratives, theme, innovation, next big thing, but markets reward discipline, not storytelling. And the irony? The harder something is pitched, the more cautious you should be. Two very different stories, same headline number. India's 100 plus high growth firms reflect scale and breadth, domestic demand machine kicking into gear. Singapore, that's precision engineering. Fewer people but a capital hub attracting regional headquarters, startups and global capital flows. South Korea and Japan show depth but slower dynamism. China's lower count, the reason for that is regulation and maturity showing up in the data. The takeaway, growth is fragmenting. It's no longer one Asia story. It's multiple engines running at different speeds. This is where geopolitics quietly hits your dinner plate. India may import 30% of fertilizers, but once you include inputs like gas and sulfur, dependency jumps closer to 70%. And here's the risk. A big chunk of that supply runs through West Asia. Any disruption there doesn't just hit oil, it hits fertilizers, then crops, and then food prices. The lag is key. Farmers won't feel it immediately, but when input costs rise, usage drops, yields follow, and inflation shows up a season later. Meanwhile, the government steps in with subsidies, and the fiscal bill quietly balloons. 4 states, 4 very different political economies, but one common thread. Incumbents are holding ground, and that tells you governance continuity is still winning over volatility. But look deeper. This isn't just about elections, it's about coalitions of voters. Demographics, caste mix, religion, and welfare delivery are quietly shaping outcomes more than headline narratives. And here's a market angle. Stability tends to anchor investment flows, while fragmented mandates raise political uncertainty. Tamil Nadu and West Bengal show entrenched regimes. Assam leans towards political continuity, and Kerala, always competitive, always unpredictable. Passenger EVs were just the opening act. And this is where it gets serious. China pushing nearly 30% of new heavy trucks into zero-emission territory is industrial policy on steroids. Why does this matter? Trucks are the backbone of logistics and one of the hardest segments to electrify. If China cracks this, it doesn't just lead EVs, it leads industrial decarbonization. Europe at 2% tells you the gap is in technology, its execution, incentives, and scale. And China's playbook is clear. Subsidize early, scale fast, dominate supply chains later.